should I use as a pointer for today's video? My trusty bayonet? Nah, not in the mood. Nah. Yeah. But a little bit overkill. The hell? Nah, too weird. Yeah, this is about right. What's up, people? Today's a little bit of a update for 2016. I'm taking a new phase for 2016 and stepping up my game as far as radio range of my home to me out there in the field. The past, since 2008, I've been concentrating more on tactical communications. It's all going to be tactical communications. That's a given. But more so close by short range tactical comms. I had to get that down packed before I move on to bigger and better things and bigger and better range. So of course I mostly concentrated on VHF and UHF communications, utilizing repeaters, home built repeaters, and other methods, and I think I got that down pack here in my situation. I do not make videos just for the sake of making videos on YouTube. What you see that I put out on film is exactly the methods that I'm employing for myself here at my location. So whatever you see is exactly what I'm doing. Maybe I may experiment with theory here and there, but if it doesn't work out for me, it gets trashed and I move on to what works. So right now I got reliable communications of about 60 miles with my portable repeater up here. We do have regular repeaters out there as far as ham repeaters and the such, but to me that is not reliable. I do not have a direct sort of involvement with those repeaters. It's infrastructure that I cannot control. So if I cannot control it, I cannot repair it. I cannot, make changes and stuff like that. So to have my own self-contained unit, as you know, I placed a portable simplex repeater up on a high mountain here around where I live at, right here. And that is 60 miles radius. Basically from my house, it'll go up to the simplex repeater and hit the valley where 85% of my travels is in this area here. So I got 85% of my sort of connectivity to home down packed using a UHF frequency, 450 something megahertz, around there. And it's been reliable as far as range and all that good stuff on low power, 5 watts going both ways. But it does have its problems. For instance, right now the repeater is down. I have no communications with it. In the past, it's because of a critter that chewed the cable, the power cable from the solar panels, so that took out my system. This time around, I think the weather has been pretty bad. We had some snow, so I think the batteries has drawn down to where it's not operable anymore. So I'm not going to find that out until I get some solid sun for about 2 or 3 days. Well, it'll turn back on, hopefully. And in the meantime, my range has cut down dramatically. I only get maybe 5 miles worth of range, 5 to 7 miles line of sight, where I used to have 60 in the past. So something else has gone on before it went off the air. So I'm going to have to do a repair mission up there to go up there and investigate what's going on. And that'll be a video later on when I do have access to go up there again. Right now there's too much snow up there. My vehicle's not going to make it. So that is part of the reality that I'm facing in real time today during peacetime, to let me know what potentially could happen later on when shit hits the fan, whether it be natural disaster or total collapse of society. So with that scenario, that true scenario that's going on right now, if we're in shit hit the fan scenario, line of sight from my home to the simplex repeater is 7 miles. I know if I had a straight road over there, that's what, 2, 3, 4 hours of hiking one way to go up there to see what's going on. Realistically, it's around 20 something miles using the roads or hiking to go up there, traversing all the hills to get up there. So that in reality is like a 2 to 3 day expedition to go up there one way to find out what's going on. Going through hostile territory, more than likely. So with that in mind, I want to employ another strategy for communications from me anywhere to back to my home. So the next logical step for me to do is to go HF, high frequency, and employ a strategy that will give me somewhat of a 95% chance of getting communications back home without infrastructure whatsoever. With HF, you don't need a repeater or other people's repeater or line of sight. You could basically bounce your signal off the ionosphere and head back home both ways without infrastructure in between. That's where HF shine. Coming down a ravine or river canyon or something like that, a draw of some sort, bottom of the canyon. No way you're going to get your radio signal out unless you have people around this area, or a repeater up on the cliff walls in VHF or UHF. What could get out of here is HF radio. You could beam your signal up towards the sky, or just whatever direction you want to transmit at, and hopefully that skip will leave the canyon here and reach somewhere over that particular mountain or whatever, 200, 300, 400 miles away, depending how you manipulate the antennas. I have no experience in that, just repairing the gear back in the day, but not operating. Now there's two scenarios that people get confused a lot in these preparedness videos. Shit hit the fan, where things are totally gone to shit, or natural disaster or a crisis of some sort, world war, stuff like that, where we are still cohesive as a nation and people are still around to help each other out. In that case, my little APRS, VHF, UHF radio is perfect for that, especially here in earthquake country, wildfire country. Another reality check. Here down in the valley, blocked by a ridge over to my house. But with the simplex repeater, or any repeater for that fact, I could transmit up to the repeater, then hit back home again from that location. So from the valley, I got a good, reliable, effective range of 60 miles. Maximum range, I seen it at 80 miles with low power. It just depends on your terrain and stuff. Out in the backcountry where I like to go camping and stuff, realistically, on the other side of the mountain, I could hit the repeater this way and then it'll make it back home. But if I try to make it from this location here, a couple of ridges or valleys away down in the valley, and I try to transmit, this mountain blocks it and I have no connectivity to my house anymore. And that has happened in all my camping trips back there. Just 1 or 2 ridges away, I go down into a valley somewhere, I'm done. I have no connectivity back to my house. And other sort of terrain situation too that has happened. So that is the Achilles heel of the VHF UHF infrastructure to go back home as far as communications. In the real world, in a sort of disaster sort of thing, the first responders will actually run a couple of repeaters to make this connection from this valley here, and that has happened, and I showed you videos in the past of that happening in the real world. So sometimes they will put a repeater right here, a portable repeater, so you could transmit up this repeater, then with the link gets transmitted over to this repeater here, and then back to your command post or home or whatever. That's more infrastructure, that's more equipment out there, more multiple points of failure. So for a normal family guy, that is not practical. I mean, it could be done with about maybe $1,500 worth of equipment, but then you have to choose the location where it will not be discovered, and that could be a challenge, and then how are you going to maintain it afterwards, during peacetime and after peacetime. The what ifs could exponentially increase with this particular scenario here. Like I said, HF is looking better and better as far as a strategy. So with my prepping, I got this system in place so far with the simplex repeater. And the simplex repeater was built not to standards, just to test out its robustness out there in the field in real life conditions. And of course, it has failed on me a good 2 times already. So those are the facts that you will face out there if you apply this strategy. But it's very beneficial having a VHF, UHF repeater in your sort of close range communications of, let's say, 0 to 30 to 60 miles for multiple reasons. But as a backup, I think HF will be a good sort of backup to this scenario in case your main repeater takes a dump. Also, when you go out of range of the 60 miles of the simplex repeater from your home base here, be somewhat like 200 miles away, let's just say. So what am I going to do 200 miles away? The only cost-effective solution to this problem to be in communications with your home 200 miles away is to employ HF, high frequency. The only way that you could actually have reliable communications from 200 miles away, just using the radio and with no outside infrastructure of, let's say, repeaters and relay stations and the like, is HF communications. I'm not even going to talk about satellite communications. During non-shit hit the fan scenario, yeah, that is a perfect solution to that, because then, you know, the infrastructure is still there, and it's more reliable in the fact that you could hit the satellites up in the sky and make phone calls that way. I'm training for a worst case scenario here, and that is no infrastructure whatsoever. HF, again, it seems to be the only solution to this particular problem here. So that is what 2016 is going to be. It's I getting an HF gear and exploiting its capabilities to my advantage. So with the past scenario of this repeater taking a dump, and I'm in this location here, and I got this mountain in the way, with an HF gear, applying specific techniques on how to bounce signals up the ionosphere back down to your location in close range. Basically, you'll transmit, it'll hit the ionosphere and bend back over to your location. If you're a couple of ridges away, down in the valley, in the gully, river bottom, same thing. Transmit up in the air, the ionosphere will bounce it right back down to your headquarters. In the valley, same thing. Up the ionosphere, back down. 200 miles away, same thing. You get the picture. And your home location will have the same sort of antenna orientation to do the same thing on the opposite end. That pretty much in a nutshell is going to encompass my efforts for next year, 2016, to make this happen. Hopefully by maybe February I would get the man portable unit that I chose already to take out to the field, and then hopefully by summer when I go to these fire deployments, I could test out from various locations throughout California state back to my home listening post. I won't have the money to have an HF radio here at my home, but I am going to buy a software defined radio that is able to receive HF signals, and I'm going to build a homebrew sort of dipole antenna out in the yard for HF for the specific frequency that I'm interested in, to be as a listening post, and hopefully I could record those messages and see if I make it home from transmitting from out here in the field. So that's the big announcement for 2016. 2016 is going to be the year of high frequency communications. And mind you, even though I've been in the industry for 20 years, I am no expert. Back in the military, I just repaired the vehicle. I never operated it. So, and after the military, it's always been two-way tactical communications with, fire, police, and so forth. But this is totally new territory for me. I don't know nothing about this except for the maybe, basic. This is sort of coming out of my comfort zone as far as communications, but you're going to have to get out of your comfort zone to take full advantage of what's available out there, and that's the realization that I've come across with myself here. Like I said, I'm not an expert at this. I am a total HF newbie, and it's definitely a science all to its own, and I'm sort of eager to learn and experiment in real live world situations out there, and taking it out, hiking out in remote areas, and see what the capability of this implementation is. And my inspiration for all this has been the United States Marine Corps recon platoon that back in the day they employed this before satellite communications, and they used HF to report back to headquarters of what is going on out there in the field. They used a ANPRC 104, which is a man-packable 20-watt HF radio. And the gear that I've chose to use is a maximum of 12 watts. So, like I said, the Marine Corps recon platoon with their HF communication is the model that I'm using to implement out there in my sort of comm plan here. The guerrilla comm channel cannot be a guerrilla comm channel without exploiting every aspect of tactical communications. I've sort of run the VHF and UHF and other methods down to the ground already. I mean, there's still a lot more out there to learn about it, but I cannot really call myself the guerrilla comm channel without diving into HF communications. So that is what 2016 is going to entail, is me sort of learning as I go along using that particular method. So with that, I'm definitely going to take all you guys along on this journey here and see what we can learn. And of course, I'm open to suggestions and comments, and any way that I can make the system run a little bit better.